Well, hello everyone. Welcome on board my 1960 DeSoto. We're heading to a gigantic car show in Cynthiana, Kentucky. So we are in the middle of the bluegrass. It's a very beautiful August Saturday. It's not too hot, not too cold, and I'm joining my group of friends from our little village where we live, and we're heading over to Cynthiana. Good thing I didn't drive my little Trabant because it would be hard to keep up with these guys here. They got really nice cars. It was a short ride. We got to Cynthiana, and now we're gonna go to the parking game. Looks like many people came the night before and they left their cars here to make sure they got a good parking spot. Lots of cars today. So we are in the city of Cynthiana, Kentucky. So it's called the Cynthiana Rod Run. Easily might be the biggest, largest car show around here where we live. And maybe there is one more other place in Somerset, but I haven't never been that place. First, we have a Model A here. For Model Ts and Model As, you always was able to purchase these wooden parts in the back. I'm not sure why does it needs a fuel pump. I don't understand. They run really nicely without the electric fuel pump, but I guess the owner thought maybe that's the best course of action here. So you can buy these wooden parts in the back, and you can build all kind of commercial vehicles out of it. And maybe you can put a modern seat in it. Maybe that would be more comfortable, but then also you could just buy a modern car. Now this thing is very strange. Maybe it's a Cushman. I really don't know. Looks like a very industrialized scooter with no real lines, like a Vespa or something. I was growing up on the wrong side of the Iron Curtain, and we very rarely or seldom seen cars like this. So if I could go back and be an 18-year-old kid, I would say like I'm in heaven, because looking at all these beautiful cars in a background like this is just really like a dream come true. I've built many cars in my lifetime. I built cars out of scratch, basically just hanging up a 302 and put a Trimac behind it and fitting building a frame and so on. So did a lot of things in the past. So I kind of have an idea how to make something happen, and it's really a long journey. Like looking at this car, it looks somewhat original except the lights, but to make that paint job happen, or any of these cars, to get a build finished and completed, and actually be able to come out here to a car show, it takes a lot of determination, and there's all kind of obstacles which you have to overcome. People have various means and various ideas how their car should look like. So what we see here is is basically what the owner thought that this car should look like for him. Very rarely I see an original car, which I really appreciate. If it's a totally original car with original tires, even down to the battery, maybe that's a whole different thing. There's very few of those cars presented here. Most of these cars have been modified and rebuilt and repainted the way that the owner like it, and I think that's very important. This basically this hobby is like playing with toys, and then if that's the kind of toy what you like, then the other person cannot really tell them that, hey, this is not how you're supposed to do it. So they're supposed to just do it the way they like it. I really like the freedom what this the state of Kentucky gives to the old car folks, because there are other states and especially other parts of the world where it's not like that. Like where I was growing up, most of these cars would not pass the safety inspection at all. They could not have a license plate to drive around, and nor could have a full coverage insurance. So this is a really nice place here, and here's something you don't see every day. It looks to me that it's just popped over here from the 1960s, and it's a full-fledged race car with no windows in. And I'm not sure what kind of track they were racing on. Might be an oval track, might be on dirt, might be on concrete. But this is something you've seen in the past, and they just randomly sprayed, painted, sprayed everything, including the speaker housing, and just put some really cool little seat from another car that's very period correct, and they just put the helmet on and the suit on, and then let's go racing. It's really hard to paint a car yellow because the yellow color is not covering up many things. So first you usually have to paint it white and then yellow, and most likely all the little flies from the area will land on it as soon as it's done. Looks great. There are many different cars came out today. Some of them are nicer, some of them aren't. This one is looks like a sleeper car. That means you have some incredible amount of power stashed in it, but from the outside it looks like nothing to it. But if you look closer, you can see that huge wheel been tucked under the fender, and also the whole thing got lowered. I think someone said that this car has the original paint, and inside it looks like a normal car. There's nothing fancy, just the way it came. And in the end, under the hood, at the other hand, is hiding a really powerful power plant, so it could provide some really bad surprises at the stoplights. For the rest of the world, that might sound crazy that people actually running up and down with these mobility aids, and then it's not only just one or two, like a whole bunch of them. That's a good way to get around in a car show and just look at what you need, look at what you want. There could be several different reasons why people have old cars, but it looks like this is a good reason to have one. With that, you can just work on the cars and got to know them, and then it gives you a chance to take your son out and do stuff together. I really appreciate that. I had just about two and a half of these pickup trucks in Texas. They were all rusty, and I never got to that. And we had to move, so I actually just sold both of them. That's kind of sad. This Corvette looks like it's parked over the leak. Yeah, and here are some guys from the Bourbon Street Cruisers. We were passing them on the way here. Now that's what I'm talking about, a gasser pedal car. All right. It looks like we're in the middle of the little town. Again, this town called Cynthiana. And everywhere you look, there are cars and trucks and various things what people brought out. And here's the little courthouse, beautiful place. And this thing. This thing is a slightly lifted pickup truck. It might sound a little strange for Europeans that you can actually drive it on the streets, no problems, as long as you have a way to get in it. I wonder if the cops pull it over, like how they're gonna actually ask for the license and registration. They might have to like get a loudspeaker to speak all the way up there. But you can see the mechanical marvel, the way they actually made it passable to lift it up so far. Of course, it has to be four-wheel drive with gigantic tires. I wonder if what kind of vehicles can it go over, or what's the whole reason for this whole thing? Looks like there is a ladder what you can extend from the top and then you can climb in. It appears that there is a housing with a bunch of gears in it, and that's how they bring down the drive for the drive shafts. It's in there. Yeah, that's must have been either they made it at home, or they actually you can buy that stuff, but it's absolutely nuts. You have a vehicle this tall. You have a stabilizer arm on it with the extensions. You can see that it's purple and have some really long shock absorbers. And also, in order to get in and out, they had to bring a ladder, which is underneath. Yeah, this is America, totally America. And here's one of these great examples where they actually can restore a car to make it all original looking down to the last bolt. So this one looks like been very well done and very nicely cared for. This is a whole different aspect of the hobby, and they have races where they basically take these cars to, and then they see whose car is more original, and then oh, that was the wrong rivet, or that was the wrong bolt, or wrong screw in it, and then they get points based on that. And sometimes they can take them out to a Concord Elegance to show them off. You can see in the bottom of the car. It's nothing new to me because when we restore a car in Europe, that's how you end up doing it. So make it right, or just don't even start on it. But yeah, this is one of the very few examples here today, which was very nicely restored. Very nicely done truck. Not 100% original, but mostly original. It looks very nice. And then next to it, there is a car with a they stashed this huge engine in it. There is not too much of a space on either side, and it's sticking out on the hood. And I can just imagine how it sounds like. It's very cool. So someone must have dreamed this and said, well, let's just shove the largest engine we can possibly into this little pony car, and you can see the shock observers towers, and they're almost touching the valve covers. So that's basically the largest thing you could shove in without start cutting the sides out. I guess anything is possible, but yeah, it looks pretty cool, I think. And now, after this, here is a pickup truck with a very unusual color. You can see the graffiti under the hood, which is really nicely done. Looks like the owner really cared for it, but everything possible to make it pretty. All the chrome pieces, the searchlight, which is also a mirror on the other side, and everything else what you can buy for this truck, or can chrome it, it was done on it. This is a totally different ball game here. Looks like a 4x4, and then they put a Chevy on top of it. I seen one of these in Nevada, and it looked awesome in the desert. So it's like totally Mad Max inspired car, I think. After the extremes, we can see some typical regular American cars kind of hooped up. Now, this thing looks like it's a hot rod, and they put a really large engine in it. This shows this it was used to be a Plymouth at one point of time, and instead of the flathead engine, now we got a gigantic. Looks like it's a Ram V8, but I'm not totally sure. Inside is kind of modified as well. It probably needs some painting, but that's fine the way it is. There's all kind of artistic designs what we can see. So you can see two flame drops here. First is a very realistic flames, and then it turns into a traditional looking 1950s 1960s looking flame job with the nice paint stripped sides of it. So that is very interesting to have both of these flames worked into one. I often wonder how many hours did that take to make this paint job passable. That's incredible. As you probably see, this car show is a very large scale car show, and then there's all kind of things to see anywhere you look. There's all kind of new stuff popping up, and but none of the cars are from Europe or Japan, so kind of really sad about it. But on the other hand, they have these really beautiful looking cars like this Nomad. Not all three-door Chevys are Nomads, but this one appears to be, and it's very nicely done. It's kind of easy to work on these cars because you can buy anything for it. You can buy original parts or hooped up parts or whatever you desire, and then you just basically, just as long as you have money, you can just screw it together, so you don't really have to search for too many things. The Chevy made this car first as a concept car, and they took them around with the future liner bus first, and then later on made a production model of it, what you see here, fairly modified condition. Everything is super clean in this car. I just wonder how long does it take to actually clean it. Most likely you can drive it in rain, and then you gotta be very careful how often you drive it out, because then you're gonna have to clean it a lot. Recently the C10 World just went crazy, and then people are paying so much money for these trucks because you can't really find them anymore in good condition. Looks like this one was done very nicely, and it is for sale for a very low price of $79,900. So for 80 grand you can have this. I don't know if I see the 80 grand in it, but I'm pretty sure he was really researched the price, and or maybe just doesn't want to sell it. I don't know. I don't even know if you can build one of these for $80,000. Looking at how nicely it's done, I mean, just that paint job probably a good 20,000, and then you get to buy all the parts and seat covers and everything. So, yeah. So looking at the interior and the whole truck overall, maybe that price is warranted because everything is done really nicely. This was the time when truck manufacturers started to make a comfortable truck just like a car. So they put power steering and air conditioning, and looks like this was an aftermarket windshield. But yeah, so it's a very nice looking thing, but I don't know if I would pay that much money for it. Um, this appears to be a very, very nice rat rod. The way I understand, rat rod is supposed to be not as clean as this thing, but yeah, if the owner likes it that way, that's good. It looks very green inside with a tiny little steering wheel in it, but everywhere you look, it's clean. So I don't know, rats may not like clean stuff that much, but they all hanging out in the truck bed. There's some 59 Cadillac lights. Yeah, 59 Cadillac. I haven't seen one for a while. Finally, we got to the other side of the main square, and people are still coming. And I think they still have a few spots, but they're opening up new streets to accommodate all the people who are coming in still. As I understand, the Suburban name is around since the mid 1930s. So this truck looks like it's around from the 50s, and it is a version of the Chevy truck, which basically they call the Suburban. So there's more people can sit in the back. There are panel versions as well for commercial use, and this thing they fairly modernized it. I don't know how much I like those seats in it and other stuff, but as long as the owner likes it, that's what's important. Well, let's look inside and see what we got in there. It looks very clean all around, like the sliding windows. And here are the modern seats. I probably would try to make it old looking or original looking, but that's not my truck, not my car. So it is what it is. Looks how nice and shiny inside as well. So this is how people imagining the old Suburbans. often wonder, is it better to leave the hood up or down? This truck looks like the same one that was in the Men in Black, and it has a really good shape. I wish the hood would have been down so we can see the UFO with a bug crashing on one of these. Or it might have been a commercial series or a little larger one, but this looks very similar in vintage. And despite it has having different colors and different panels, it still retained the really nice shape what Chevy and GMC designed into these trucks. It has the wraparound windshield where when you get in and out of the truck, you're gonna hit your knee. But I have a few cars like this at home. Well, let's keep walking, and there's a lot more to see. Now we're gonna speed up a little, and we're gonna bypass several good-looking cars. And then it's basically like looks like an old car lot where you can just pretty much go and choose what you like, from the old pickup trucks to any of the Chevy or Ford vehicles what they offered back then. And then here's a real nice traditional looking hot rod. The engine somewhat is a modern engine, but at least it's got a top and it's very nicely put together. And as we're going forward, there is something very interesting. That's an unusual car in the corner. They almost got to the side of the car show, so after this street, I guess that's how far it goes. And here's this one. Very, very interesting color. I don't know if it was the original color. Huge bench seat in it, gigantic steering wheel, flowing chrome on the dash, and very nice shapes all around. Like, what is this? It looks like a Packard, and there's a sign on the side. It says Ultramatic. So they named the transmissions with all kind of fancy names. Like the Buick had the Dynaflow, the Ford had the plain Jane Fordomatic, and then this thing had to have the Ultramatic transmission. So it must be an automatic transmission. Look how nice that dash looks like. I really like that they left it all original in there. I don't know about the color. If they had metallic color back then, I think it's early 50s what this car probably was made in. And yeah, very nice. I have you have the airplane on the hood, or it says Packard on the hood, and it got the jet age. Every car had to have a jet airplane on it. So this truck looks like you could even work with it. I really like that flatbed on it. And then what we have here, it looks like an old Chevy, probably around 1930s. Yeah, there's a license plate. It says 1930 on it. And most of the time you can only see Fords, but this one is a very super nice Chevy. It has the early flat rims in it, and it's like in a very nice condition, and it's in a very nice settings because the restaurant behind it looks like it's from the 1930s as well. This is surreal to see a Buick next to it. They wasn't able to press out the whole roof from one metal, so that's why they substituted with wood and then some soft material at that time. So that's why you see all those 1930s cars have a soft top on the top. And here's this building, what looks like is the same vintage as the car. And there's a pretty good restaurant in the corner of it. So if you ever drive through Cynthiana, I recommend that place. Now here's another very interesting truck. I don't know if it's original or that's how it looked like. It's not a crew cab because the rear door doesn't open, does not have a rear door on it. Now let's look inside. Maybe it's original, maybe somebody just built it, but then they did a really good job, so it looks very original. I don't know. I never seen such a thing, so I really like when they get some commercial vehicles and make them run again, because that's something unusual what you don't see every day. And then here's the restaurant on the corner, by the way. And here's a rat rod. Looks like an old truck, which probably was a lot taller than now. It is sitting, and what is that says on it? I don't think it's a diamond truck, a diamond T, huh? Very unusual truck. And this, I always like to see what kind of ideas people, or what kind of ideas people have, or what kind of ingenious stuff they find and implement into it. Looks like there's a horn actuator just hanging down there, and then very nice old steering wheel and all kind of little details what I really enjoy seeing in these trucks. There's two large pipes coming out with the pipe protectors like on a tractor, and then in the back there is that hand operated winch what you can lift stuff up with. And then everything is very rusted, so I don't know if that's the fuel tank on the side. It looks like a gas tank, an acetylene tank. And yeah, that's definitely looks like a rat rod to me. It's very exciting to see how what kind of parts they found, like those license plates on the running board, and then what kind of parts, how rusted it is on the outside. It's crazy. Look at that. Yeah, and there was some repair job on it to put back on it, but yeah, that's pretty exciting to see to me. And under the hood uh, appears to be a very modern engine, but probably really reliable to pull this truck forward. I like it. And this next one looks like a very nicely preserved Oldsmobile, and it's for sale. You don't have a B pillar, so you can see inside the whole car. I can just imagine cruising down the road with my buddies, and then yeah, go to some cool place with it. Everybody can fit in it, and you can put a whole bunch of more people in the trunk if you want to go into a drive-in movie theater. You can see the fender skirts on it, and the fender skirts should go underneath. They usually getting lost or broken, so that's also present, and very much appears to be an original paint job. Really nice car. Here is Smokey and the Bandit. So the bandit is actually probably somewhere else with that lady next to it, because their clothes are still in the car, and the hat is there. Everything is ready for action. There are several more cars came here, and some of the cars are actually newer. So I'm not totally understand. I thought this one may be an old car show. Now here's a T bucket with the original owners in it. There's some really tiny steering wheel in it. The where it is originating, the very small little steering wheel is from Southern California, where Mexicans were getting arrested, and they get handcuffed to the steering wheel. So they made a very small steering wheel so they still could drive their car away. If the cop wouldn't watch, and that's where it's all started. Here's another rat rod truck. Inside, you can look inside. It's not as rich as the last one, but it still looks pretty cool and then fairly rusted. And still have some very nice features, and I like to see the design, the way the owner designed it and found parts for it, and looks like it's a very nice flow of the whole car. You got this exhaust protector, some modern engine in it, and a very nice symbol on the door. That's really cool. And here's the fuel tank, most likely on the back. I've seen this nice ranchero a few times, and every time I see it, the owner always cleans it or polishing it or something. And yeah, it's very unusual, especially with this folks wood grain on the side. And here's a very rare Toyota. It's actually a Celica GT, and looks like it's a JDM car. It's a Japanese domestic market car with a right-hand drive configuration. That's the only foreign car I've seen other than a few Volkswagens. Well, this is it for today. We're gonna try again next weekend with something else. Thanks for watching. Bye.